Hey guys, how's it going? This is your old pal, CHH. Hope everybody's doing good today. Today we're talking about the 1997 masterpiece. Is it a masterpiece? I don't know. You be the judge. We're talking about Spawn from 1997. And before we get into this, just to be perfectly open, this was sent to me from MVD. I think a lot of people are probably anticipating this, and I wonder if it's a lot of people around my age. For me, the quintessential summertime Doritos and Mountain Dew film, the quintessential film that defined that. Well, there's a couple, really. There's like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Spawn. Spawn is a movie that I think in the summer of 99, my mom just, because there was like no nudity or anything, she let me watch it. I even think I remember her asking the clerk at Blockbuster, like, does this movie have a bunch of nudity? And the guy's like, no, he's safe to watch it. Yeah, let him watch it. And the clerk was probably like my age now, or probably a little bit younger at the time. And I used to get Spawn. I'd rent it religiously. I remember renting it like 4 or 5 times on VHS, like in a row. And my mom would be like, pick something else. And I'd be like, no, I want to. I was obsessed with it. Because Spawn to me is, the closest thing to like a horror movie type of comic book character that I've ever seen. And I love it for that reason. I love the dark imagery of it. And it's so funny because when I was watching it today, I was like, why does this look like it was built on the set of like the film The Crow or something? Well, the producers that did The Crow did Spawn, so you can see that dreary kind of like nighttime, bad weather, apocalyptic look that you would see. It's very, very similar. I don't really think I need to get into a whole lot of details about Spawn, the movie, or the plot. It's got Martin Sheen in here. John Leguizamo plays the fat clown, which we'll talk about. Michael Jai White, of course, plays Spawn. You've got Melinda Clarke in here. For a lot of people that watch this channel, they'll know her from Return of the Living Dead 3. By the way, I don't think I've said this yet. I didn't get the 4K version. I could have, but I actually decided to get the Blu-ray version. I'll get into why. Not because I think there's anything wrong with the 4K version, but I'll get into that in just a minute. So just bear with me. And don't worry, even if you're wanting to buy the 4K, I don't think that this review will probably alter your decision about that one way or the other. So watching this movie as a kid, I never saw any faults with it. Of course, when you watch it today, you'll see all the ridiculous CGI. And it always makes me laugh because how was Spielberg able to make Jurassic Park look like it did years prior in 1993? Well, I think I understand why. Money. I don't even know the amount of money that was spent on this. But the funny thing about this is, the demon that brings Al back to life as Spawn, the scene where he grabs the clown, he comes out of the depths of that lava, it straight up looks like a Nintendo 64 game. I mean, no better than that. And I'm not knocking it because, part of that is why I loved it as a kid. Grew up playing Nintendo 64 and all that. It doesn't look any better. It legitimately looks like a Nintendo 64 final boss scene. It is absolutely hysterical. Some of the CGI stuff, when the clown, John Leguizamo, he kind of turns into like the demon that fights Spawn and grabs him. That stuff, while clearly 90s CGI, that actually looks better than the magma scene where you're in hell with the big demon. So some of the CGI stuff, I think by this point is a part of the charm of the film. I don't think people even shit on Spawn because of that. It's kind of endearing to them because of that, in a sense. But let me tell you the one thing I loved about watching this film now that I appreciate so much more than I did as a kid. When I was a kid, it was all about Spawn. Al Simmons, that character, I loved it. The look of the character, the voice, it was everything. Even before his mask kind of comes over him and you see like his burnt face, it was creepy. It kind of scared me as a kid, but I was also endeared to him because he was battling. Does he get revenge or does he fight for his humanity? And I loved that as a kid. Now as an adult, what I love more than anything and what I think this movie works so well is John as the fat clown. The fat clown just steals every scene. I love the clown in this movie so much. And as I was watching it, that's where the best stuff is, that makeup. The Spawn outfit looks phenomenal, but the clown makeup and the look of that character is amazing. I loved that so much. So as an adult, now I watch this, I was like, Leguizamo is killing it in this. So I absolutely, positively loved watching this as an adult. I really think that, I feel like this could be the case. Why do I love The Lost Boys, but I'm not endeared to it the way some of my friends are? I didn't grow up with The Lost Boys. I think if people just saw this movie today and they didn't grow up with it, they could say this is either bad or that's all right, but they don't have that I'll fight for Spawn. I have that with Spawn because I grew up with it. I think there's going to be a lot of the people that buy this, I think are going to be those kinds of people. The people that grew up with it and they loved it. They love it for all its warts and all its positives. And it's a movie that truly brings them back to a certain time. And bring you back to a certain time, it does. This movie feels incredibly 1997. Why did I get the Blu-ray and not the 4K? I could have gotten the 4K if I wanted. Two reasons. Number one, I still love Blu-ray, and I've actually taken it to get a number of releases from Arrow, whether I buy them or now because I'm able to get some review copies. I still like doing the Blu-rays because the fact is they're still putting out Blu-ray releases of stuff, which is good when they have the license to do both Blu-ray and 4K. Sometimes they don't. Like I got Clash of the Titan set as a Blu-ray. I got the Deep Blue Sea release as a Blu-ray, and I thought Spawn would be that. Now, the second reason I did that, besides just wanting to be able to give you guys a Blu-ray review for the people that are Blu-ray people, the second reason I got it is because I thought it might help mesh the CGI stuff better with the film without HDR. I thought it might actually make it look less ridiculous. That remains to be seen. I don't know. But, that's kind of why. And I'll be honest with you, with this Blu-ray release, I don't feel like I'm missing out without getting the 4K of this. Again, not to say I'm not going to disparage the 4K. I'm sure it's amazing, but I wanted to do the Blu-ray for this. So with that being said, let's get into it. In terms of the picture quality, I thought it looked incredibly sharp and good. Definitely grainy, but I feel like that's a thing where most film people or people that just love home video and movies, especially from the early 2000s back, film grain is a sign of like authenticity, I guess, just to some people. To me, I love it. Definitely somewhat of a grainy film, and there were some moments where it was grainier than others, but overall, I like that element of it. Very, very sharp, and I wanted to. It's so funny. I wanted to watch the studio Blu-ray for this movie because I had it. I bought it from a game exchange years and years ago, probably like 6-7 years ago, and I popped it in, and it wouldn't play. I took it out. The disc is scratched to all hell. So I have no reference point. I'm just going to judge this. I can't tell you what the studio Blu-ray that came out years ago looked like. I don't know. I'm sure it may look pretty good, but this is one of those things too where it's important to note. The restoration is obviously super important. And with this being a 4K restoration from the negative, this is 4K restorations of both the director's and theatrical cuts. That's going to be super important. And I still have Blue Underground stuff that I never upgraded because I got the 4K restorations as a Blu-ray, and they look phenomenal. I mean, I watched this in my PS5 too in my living room TV, which is a QLED, not an OLED, but a QLED, and it looked awesome. It looked so good. And in terms of like all the CGI stuff, when you cut to it, it is what it is. You can't fix modest CGI with picture quality. Modest CGI is modest CGI. That's what it is. So you're still going to chuckle when you see the scenes where you get to see the big demon in the lava world in hell, so to speak. That is what it is. But, the film, when you're just seeing the scenes, for instance, there's a scene where Michael Jai White and Leguizamo, the clown and Spawn, he's digging up the grave and the body. I think he's digging up his own body. That scene, even though it's at nighttime, is still super sharp and looked really cool. So I think, restoration-wise and all that, I think people probably be pretty happy with that. I would give the picture quality on this, I'd give it about an 8, 8.5 out of 10. Thought it looked really good. And like I said, this is the Blu-ray release. There'll be a ton of 4K releases out there, but I honestly feel very satisfied getting the Blu-ray version. And when it comes to which one I watched, there is the theatrical and the director's cut. I watched the director's cut because honestly, I don't know that I've ever seen it. And I really can't tell you how much more or less is taken in or out of that because I haven't seen the film in years. So, you know, there wasn't any nudity or anything like that in the director's cut. Maybe there was some foul language or stuff like that might have been taken out, or just a little bit of added dialogue or parts of scenes that were just trimmed down, things like that. Let's look at the release itself, then we'll talk about the special features, which is my favorite part of physical media. Here's the release of Spawn. I love this artwork. You can reverse this artwork and have that picture of Spawn full-bodied, but I preferred this more than anything, so I kept it like this. You can reverse it to this art right here. I'll show you on the disc. You can reverse it to show that art right there, which you could even see it under there. Most people like that art, but I think most people actually prefer this art right here, which I'm with you guys. On the inside, this is interesting. I got a Evil Dead Rise card. Who knows what they're going to do with that? There's a lot of speculation that they're going to put out a new release of that. That remains to be seen. In terms of bonus materials, of course, you get this. You get a poster, and it can have this artwork on it, or you can have that artwork, which most people, like I said, I think most people prefer that. And then you also get your booklet. Very, very small booklet, but it is what it is. You know, I would have liked a little bit more meat on the bones on that. There's Spawn. And it's Spawn's Long Journey, Hard Road of Comic Book Hell by John Turani, and about the presentation and credits. There's Leguizamo right there as the clown. Cast and crew. There you have it. You know, just don't expect to be able to sink your teeth into this book. Some of the pages are just pictures too. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, there it is. There's your CGI demon. Theatrical and director's cut, and I decided to watch the director's cut. On the director's cut, you're going to get the poster art right there, and then there's your theatrical disc. Now, let's talk about the special features, because that's what I was excited about the most. On disc 1, we have original DTS HD 5.1 surround, lossless stereo, optional English, brand new audio commentary with comic book expert and podcast Dave Baxter, audio commentary with Todd McFarlane, Mark A.Z. Dipp, the director, Clint Goldman, and Steve Williams. Hell's Perfect Son, a brand new interview with actor Michael Jai White. Sensational interview. He really talked about all kinds of stuff. I didn't know that he was supposed to play Jax in Mortal Kombat, presumably Annihilation. He didn't say that, considering I think Jax might have barely been in the first Mortal Kombat, but I don't even think he was. I think Jax was in Annihilation only. So I'm assuming that's what he was referencing, but he just said Mortal Kombat. But really great interview, lengthy interview too. Spawn support, a brand new interview with actors Melinda Clarke and D.B. Sweeney. D.B. Sweeney was the partner he had, and then Melinda Clarke, who is obviously a villain, that was with Martin Sheen, not Martin Short. And that was fantastic as well. They both really had a lot of good things to say about the project, and the guy I didn't realize he had such the career that he's had. He was talking about working with Francis Ford Coppola and things like that. The Devil's in the Details, a brand new interview with animatronic creature and special makeup effects artist Howard Berger and Greg Nicotero. Everybody loves Greg Nicotero. The Devil's Music, a brand new interview with music supervisor Happy Walters. Order Out of Chaos, a brand new interview with editor Michael Canoe. Todd McFarlane, chapter and verse, an archival feature in 1998, which Spawn creator Todd McFarlane reflects on the film adaptation, stacks up against his original comic book version, The Making of Spawn. Guys, I mean, I enjoyed this release. I'm not going to deter anybody from getting the 4K. That's totally up for you guys to decide. I'm sure there'll be a bajillion 4K reviews out there. But in terms of just getting this film and getting the Blu-ray, I feel very satisfied. I thought it looked really good. And yeah, I'm happy to have this. This is Spawn, guys. So I think the audience that wants to get this, they already know they're getting this. But there you have it, guys. I think it's pretty cool. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to give this release 2 thumbs up. Great, great interviews. I love the interviews. I'm a special feature junkie, though, so keep that in mind as well. Special features are my #1 thing I love with these physical media releases. So there you have it, guys. Spawn, the 97 Doritos and Mountain Dew classic. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.